gathering in this time and space. In the past, the regrets, the good memories, the bad memories, as they are. But now this is the time and space we gather and collect. Recollect in the future, hopes, expectations, fears, the unknown, and this knowing and this gathering. This collecting, recollecting, the physical sense, and give ourselves some time and space to give attention and receive life. And the sense of being here. It's like this. being in touch with a sense of well-wishing, sense that we wish ourselves well in this. And the whole feeling, the whole experience of that, the body and the mind and the body, and the knowing, energetic experience. Life received and released. The knowing experienced. The unknown known as the unknown. The present experience. Physical, emotional, mental, the responses to sense consciousness, the five sense consciousness, this experience, and the sense of being here, sense of this is like this, energetic experience of this. Allowing the stillness of the body to sensitize and expand. And allow and permit with gathered awareness undistracted, and the all of it. the vastness of this here and now. The sensitivity of this life, the gift of this awareness, life received, attention given. In this settling, in this gathering, this time and place. The first sort of 15 minutes or so of this, it's really to give people a chance to just settle down, gather together, find some connection within to how this whole thing is, this whole experience that is the sensitivity of a human existence. It's a very subtle and profound thing, this aliveness. And it's deeply, deeply conditioned at all levels, conditioned without the outside conditions and the internal conditions. And just the knowing that is possible, that is somehow given. It's the ultimate given, that there is the knowing. And it's what allows life to be. In this particular one, this is the particular bit of this form that can be accessed in a way that other animals and other beings don't have the same capacity or interest or support for the knowing and knowing this knowing. Because it's so obviously deeply frustrating. Now this is the nature of it. It's a strange thing that this human condition is so deeply frustrating, so deeply unsatisfactory, so deeply never quite right in its conditioning. And yet, its capacity for knowing is absolutely stunningly amazing. But it's the knowing that there is this conditioning to knowing this whole body as the body, the whole way that it is, knowing the whole way that there's this conditioned response through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and the way that the mind is conditioned to move towards or away from things, to simplify and try to make sense of it all, give it some meaning to just survive, just know enough to get by and not see the conditioning that limits as it's the identification with the limitation which further complicates the whole thing. And the capacity for liberation is seeing it as it is. The seen as just the seen, the heard as just the heard, the sensed is just the sensed, the cognized is just the cognized. And this whole business is the simplification of it down to its really bare minimum, rather than the identification with the limitation. That is the opportunity. No, that because there's this human form, there's the possibility of liberation from it. And this is what's given. And so receiving this experience fully and so the conditioning of it can be seen for what that is. That's the encouragement for the meditation practice that everybody who has tried to understand has suggested. Do stop. Do grow up. Do allow this thing to be understood. To receive the gift of life and give it back to itself, to reflect. Understand this limitation. It's experienced as something extremely personal. I'm the bit that hurts. I'm the one that feels frustrated and wants something, or feels inadequate, or feels needy, or wants to connect, or wants to be in touch, or wants to think about what I want to do next, and regrets what I haven't done or what I should do. It has all these extra bits of stuff, not seeing how that's how false that is. It's a falseness that is a convenience that we get trapped in. It's a falseness that we trap each other in as we have hopes and expectations, fears and regrets about each other or the beings that we label as family or friends or acquaintances or whatever, all of that. What we do with it all. And the distortions and the defilements that muck it up and add to the habits and the power of this projection that we give importance to through mine, for me. I take the whole thing so personally. So to come back and give, the suggestion is to give a sense of kindness, recognition that we would like to use this time and space in a way that is actually works and fulfills its potential to grow up, to mature, to understand the way that it is. So we're not fooled by it. And so because this has got its own agenda. The basic physical thing has its own agenda. That's it. And then it's experienced energetically. And then the experience of the energy of the how broad and how wide can this energy go, or this sense of time and space. It's like this the physical bit is like the sort of distillation of it all, or the sort of concentration of it all. The whole fact of it being here is through all of time and space. And yet most of the time we just identify with the little bit here, its particular limitation. And my problems, my relationships, mine, and that repeating that. No, I know that here that just makes more pain. And if it's like switching that from to it's like this. Let's do the best we can with what we've got. It's incredibly imperfect. It's not ultimately satisfying, but it's what we've got. And the power of it is this opportunity to really rest in this capacity to give attention. So life is received without any addition. The fact of aliveness is received as completely as possible as before the projection that we make of it. We make our world in terms of me and mine and how we take it all personally. Whereas, when we do sit, just personally, allowing the sense of awareness or the sense of being to be the most important thing. Allowing life, the fact that there is life. Now, what makes a human life? The capacity to really reflect The capacity to just see, or to notice, or to awareness of this, whatever you want to call it, life. Life, knowing life. That gateway that knows where all the complications end, where the thinking is not. It's not stopping everybody thinking. It's allowing what is not thinking that also to be known. And that not thinking part, that background, that bit that's not caught, it's not conditioned, it allows, and that's the bit that allows the rest of it to be. Because without the possibility and without the actual fact of awareness about life itself, the rest would not, the whole thing would be dead. But humans, this human strange business, this connection with the animal realm that is, this body is an animal body. And it has that's all that conditioning. But the connection that this one has, the capacity that this one has for awakened, now that's its gift. And when it works well, it's a happiness creator. It's a highest happiness supporter. And the intention is not to harm, not to exploit, and not to indulge. So what's the sense of what's enough? What can this do to be a blessing? And it's a weird thing. And the sensed, may they just be the sensed, and the cognized, let there just be the cognized. Just that. And yet, what does that really mean? I think that should be explained more. Does that really mean what to say? And that's all complicating it, isn't it? I need to ask more questions. It's not that, and it's not that it's wrong to ask questions. It's not a judgment about this. It's not a right or wrong about this. It's just knowing. And when sitting to really just the whole sense of being here. The five senses are what we tend to go out through. The six senses are what we tend to go out through. And that's where we create the bit. Because this is the limitation of these six senses, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. But there's more than, the sense of being here, the sense of balance, the sense of spatial awareness, the sense of knowing, so let that also be as it is. Know that. Now, for convenience, we make our world through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And that's where the dukkha is, because that's what we tend to compound and muddle. And the knowing, that this is to know where thought is not, we know where thought stops. It's weird talking about and thinking about where thought stops, because those are all constructs and thoughts and interpretations and translations. Because the words are just the words. They're not, then they're just sounds actually that one's given meaning to. The pictures on the screen, they don't really exist. At one level, they have no more, and even when we hear or when we see things, we don't actually see things as they are. We see things as we create them. We sense things as we create them. Because we don't know. We're frightened of the unknown. We don't know what happens when this body dies. We don't know. There's an incredible fear of the unknown. Incredible fear. I don't know how I'm going to support myself. I don't know how I'm going to support other people. I don't know what's going to happen next. And we try to struggle, try to make it safe, try to get rid of that which we don't want, get what we want, protect ourselves, protect those that we love and think that we owe something to. And I'm not saying any of this is wrong. It's just this is how it works. And yet, what is this time and space that we make? Is this really all there is? And the suggestion is that at one level, this is all there is. It's called endless, aimless wandering. And that's what we can, there's not an end to that. It's endless, aimless wandering. And yet there's a way out. And there is something that we can do. There is something that can be practiced. The whole of it is a practice. And it's absolutely stunningly amazing that there is this practice. And practice of the Satipatthana, this practice of Samma Sati. That's why it's such a important reflection. So that the body itself is a focus. The breath. It starts with the breath, which is amazing, and then it works all the way through to the end of the Eightfold Path. And the breath itself contains the whole of the Satipatthana Sutta. So it's absolutely amazingly stunning, the teaching that we have been so fortunate to receive. And it's our, can we grow up to really take responsibility for it? Knowing the movement of the body, the way that the body is, the nature of this thing, knowing the habitual responses that are based on this, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, for or against, and the tone of it all, and the way that the sort of context in which it's received and what goes on in this, how the mind is, how the citta is, how the heart is, how that sense of awareness is. Knowing that that's the sort of key out of it, is this knowing, this capacity to know. And they talk about the purification of it. It's just like purification is through this knowing and through this practice of this. To see the way that this thing, this experience, this business, this miracle of being awake and alive is. Because it is. This is. And this is what we have. This is all there is. And the whole sort of complications that we have about the explanations of time and space that we don't really understand at whatever level we try to understand them, Buddhist cosmology or modern science cosmology or whatever, or the way that the whole thing works, nests within nests, and the amazing powers of zero and infinity. The way that the whole business of it is, and the structures of it is. How does it all work? I'm trying to figure it out, but just trying to know that this is how the citta is. This is how the whole thing is. This is what knowing is. Before thought, before explanations, before taking it personally. noticing what's not thinking, noticing the silence and the space. And this allowing this silence and space to find its own balance, so that it's not being pulled and pushed by the fears and the limitations of me and mine and I want. What I want. Because what I want is going to just be a problem for everybody else. Because what everybody else wants is going to make a problem here, because I won't be exactly what I want. So not taking the whole thing to, not making a business out of it or a problem out of it. It's not really for me at all. It's not really personal. It's just causes and conditions, habitual conditioning. And the causes that we make in it are important, because that's what humans can do. They do causes. And the causes that lead to the end of causes that knowing of just like this knowing. So I hope that that's a brief reflection. This is the Songkran, the Thai New Year time, a time for forgiveness and renewal. It's one of the 4 New Years or 5 New Years of a year. And a time to, again, a time to begin again, using a time of a calendar as okay, this is begin again. For this time of the year. In Portugal, it's a renewal time. It's springtime. And it's hotter, warming up. Things are green. Things are more alive in some ways. But real aliveness is awareness. And, no sense of well-wishing to you all, being in touch with the fact that life does wish itself well. Thank you, and if there are questions, then we'll give time for that for another 15 minutes or so. If there's not, never mind. Leave it behind. Don't worry. Listen to somebody else. There are plenty of other teachers that are teaching nowadays. There's so much information nowadays. The thing to look at most is this one, and see how this knowing here and now is in this whole business of what we call my world, the world in which we live. Thank you. not responding is in itself a response. In order to avoid creating further karma, is it best not to respond to anything negatively, especially anything negative, especially from parents' behavior. Not responding is a response. Deciding not to do something is a decision. And unfortunately, you don't escape that. And I don't know what to do about particular people and particular parents. And sometimes not just blind reaction, certainly. And then knowing the effect here of what one perceives as negative, and then recognizing that, because it's mine, it's because it's my something. My teacher behaves badly towards me. If it's somebody else's teacher behaving badly towards somebody else, it doesn't affect one so much. But if my teacher criticizes me, then I'm going to feel upset because I don't want my teacher to criticize me. And of course, there will be times when my pupils do not respond properly to what I want them to do. Then you got that, So you got a negative. Just added complication. It's just how it is. Now, I don't know what to do in particular situations and how, because it's particular. It's particular. If you do go into an area that you think is toxic, that you have a tendency to react to, then do protect yourself so that you can be more sensitive. Now, this is the old thing of, if you want to take the cake out of the oven, if the oven's hot, use proper oven gloves, because if you just go in with your bare hands, you're going to drop the cake. So it's worth protecting yourself, have a sense of, and that's, so you keep your attention inwards and how you respond in each moment. Can be, not harming, not exploiting, not indulging. Is your resolve, so the best you can. I don't want unpleasant feelings. And, if you don't want unpleasant feelings, you're going to be very disappointed, because unfortunately unpleasant feelings are what we get. Well, it's not wrong to feel unpleasant feelings. Thinking I shouldn't feel unpleasant feelings is making it more complicated. When somebody always speaks in a harsh, defensive, aggressive way, the instant feeling arises of unpleasant and dislike. I wonder what I can think or do to improve this. So think or do to improve this is enough. And then so that unpleasant feelings don't even arise is extra, because, that's going to be part of it. But you don't have to believe it so much in terms of, it's there, that's the way that they are. Sometimes they may be intentional, sometimes it may be unintentional. But again, if you don't complain too much about a toddler that throws a fit, because toddlers throw fits. They a 2-year-old that goes all crazy. You think, well, they're a 2-year-old. That's what 2-year-olds do. If somebody's sick, you don't blame them for their sickness. Yeah. If somebody's mentally sick, you don't blame them. If they do, it's this sense of blame. You do the best you can within the place that you do. Don't, if somebody comes up and stabs you, then you can defend yourself. I'm not saying that's do the best you can with what you got. If they're shouting at you, you can say, well, at least they're not hitting me. If they're hitting you, then at least they're not killing me. And if they're killing you, say, well, that's my problems are over. That's the old story of the monk who was going to a place where there was where the people were quite not responsive to the Dhamma and didn't know very much about the Dhamma. So when the Buddha said, well, if you're going to that area, what will you do if people start shouting at you? So at least they're not hitting me. And if they're hitting you, well, at least they're not really wounding me. And if they wound you, well, at least they're not killing me. And if they kill me, well, then my problems are over. I can let go. Yeah. It's it's so that's how it is. How to let the Vedana be the Vedana. Know it as it is. I don't know what you might do to be able to live in a monastery long term. And depending on where you are and depending on how the monasteries are, people are different. Circumstances are different for different people. And I just don't know. No, for you, Suzuki, I've got no idea. There are thousands of monasteries in Taiwan. There are many, many more monasteries in Taiwan than there are in Portugal. And there's some very, very wise people, I'm sure. It's not impossible. You can't. I'm sure that there are enlightened masters in Taiwan, both male and female. This is my confidence because there've been people practicing diligently for many, many, many centuries, many more than they've been in Portugal. Practicing the Buddha's teaching, studying the Buddha's teaching, and there's a conditioning that maybe you find that I don't like any of them. I like the ones, but look at that. Look at that. I'm not saying that it's wrong or it's right, but look at that sometime. Because that's a you're limiting yourself if you're saying, well, I don't like any of them here. It's you're much more fortunate than many of the people in Portugal because you've got much more access to them, and you've got 2 or 3 languages you can work them in. It's not impossible. I won't get so personal about that, but you could do something about that. Is there anything I can do to enhance the process, the possibility or process for me to live and practice long term in a monastery? I don't know, but you could look around at what's really close. Sorry. You're very fortunate. So, are there any more questions? Yeah, do in general, do count your blessings. And, for all of us nowadays, count our blessings, that our access to the Dhamma or to encouragement is so, so much better than it used to be. You have these sorts of things, all the YouTubes, all the stuff. And you all are awake and aware. You all are just snap away from complete enlightenment. That's your possibility.